Hello, FFE. It is Tuesday and we are ready to rock and roll in here. I'm a little bit late today because the Amazon man just turned up with my book delivery. It's really exciting. I don't know whether anybody knows, but I actually read a book a day, so I end up buying an awful lot of books from Amazon. I'm like their best customer. And last week, Sam at work actually met a guy called James Kerr, who wrote a book called Legacy, which I've wanted for a long time. And it's basically the chap who was the coach for the New Zealand All Blacks, which are a famous kind of rugby team, for those of you who don't know. But he basically took them to the next level, all through kind of like mindset techniques and visualization, all that kind of stuff. So epic book. Hey Alicia, how are you, my love? Let me know when you guys are here. It usually takes ages for Facebook to let people know that I'm on. Like, as normal though, hit the little share button and let people know that, you know, you think should be here. And we'll get started ASAP. So I'm not boring you, I'm just letting you know. I've been on a book binge today. So I got James Kerr's Legacy, because Sam met James Kerr on Friday at work, which was absolutely awesome. Hey Mama. I got T. Harv Eker's Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. It was a recommendation by someone in my book thread on Saturday. And I bought a new copy of Tribes by Seth Godin because mine was getting a little bit tatty. So I was like, I'll get a new one of those. And I say I bought them, but actually Sam bought them for me with old Amazon Prime. So I was very lucky, feeling pretty lucky. Hey guys. Hey Shoshana. Had to show up for the topic. Amazing. Good. Alicia's super tired. Oh no, it's only Tuesday. I'm excited. I'm like, this week is going to be epic. And it started out in a really epic way already. So exciting times. Awesome. So let's kind of dive straight in because, you know, people will join as and when. And as you join, please do say hello. It's always nice for me to be able to kind of say hi and feel like we're having a coffee together, which is always fun. But today's topic is really near and dear to my heart. Hey Patsy, because it's something really simple. And when I was thinking about what I wanted to do this week and what my trainings were going to be on, hey Suze, when I was thinking about what my trainings were going to be on this week, I was kind of like, I'm not really sure whether I want to go down this route because it is so simple. It's something so simple that you can improve and that you can make money straight away. And then I was like, but actually, you know, the whole premise of me and my business is that I want to give you the good stuff so you can go out, you can do it, and you can actually make big things happen. I'm getting a bit tired of gurus kind of saying to people, oh, I'm going to give you the what and not the how. Hey Lorraine. Too busy chatting to Jen and Laura. I love that. People connecting. That's always good. So today's training is about how to make more money immediately in your business. And there's nothing false about this. And I kind of am going to really stress that from the beginning. There's nothing false about this. It's very simple. It's the easiest strategy that you can possibly use to make more sales in your business. And because of that, we actually hear it a lot. And so people are telling us that we need to be doing this one thing all the time, and we never do because there are lots of reasons, and I'll go into those later on. But there are lots of reasons that we don't do this really simple thing. But actually, we should be paying more attention to it. And the interesting thing for me is that my business is automated, right? The majority of my business is automated. Hey, Jen. And so people think that this one strategy isn't important to me, but it actually is. And this strategy is important to anybody who genuinely cares about who they work with, particularly if you're working one-on-one with people. Now, I don't work one-on-one anymore long term. I do intensives only, but even then, I still want to respect, you know, and love the people that I'm working with, and I want to know that they're selling with integrity. So this is really important for me. Hey Laura, you're welcome. We're just keeping you company. We love it. So what is the strategy? And I feel like there should be some kind of drum roll, or it should be really exciting. It's not going to be, because you'll have heard this, I guarantee, a million times before. The number one thing that you need to be doing if you want to make more money in your business and you're not making it right now is getting on the phone. That was my mic drop impression. I'm basically Barack Obama, except not as cool. Getting on the phone is really important. I love it. Sam just did this amazing testimonial for me on Instagram in a high-pitched voice. It was epic. The reason that getting on the phone is so important with people, and I'm going to clarify this, right? I'm not talking about cold calling. Cold calling is completely different, and it's, you know, in an industry when you're trying to genuinely connect with people and you want to work one-on-one with people, it's not going to be as helpful. If you're working with companies, it is going to be massively helpful. But getting on the phone with people in the online world, crazy as it seems, is actually the best way for you to get more clients. And if you're not doing it, then you are missing out. And I've hedged around this for like the last 3 years, because people are like, but Jess, I don't want to get on the phone, or, you know, I don't want to book in calls, I just want people to sign up for my stuff. And I get that, right? My entire business is automated, okay? So I feel that pain. However, my entire business did not start being automated, right? I didn't just wake up one day and, you know, set up my business and be like, right, okay, this is just going to be like a zillion funnels and people will never speak to me. Because I actually care about the people I work with, and I care that I'm working with the right people. And for me, a discovery call is not about that person interviewing me. That's not it. It's about me saying, do I want to work with you? That's the important thing, right? A discovery call is not you kind of going, oh my goodness, I have to be amazing and I have to like tell them all these great things so that they buy my stuff. A discovery call is you genuinely connecting with somebody face to face or on the phone or whatever, and thinking, do I want to work with this person? Yes or no? Because actually you do have a choice in your business. And I know that sounds awful, especially, you know, when people are like, oh, but I'm not making money and stuff. Well, you still have a choice, because if that client or potential client is a nightmare on the phone and they've got tons and tons and tons of red flags, you don't want to touch them with a barge pole. Like, you just do not, because they will be a nightmare throughout the process. But if you connect with someone on the phone and you can really understand, what are their objections? What reassurance do they need? What do they need to know about your programs or you as a person that will help them make the right decision for them? You're going to be more likely to actually make sales, particularly high ticket sales, right? I love it. Sam, she's telling the truth, ladies. I did 5 figures in January. Exactly, by getting on the phone. And this is the thing. You know, I totally believe in funnels. I have, 27 funnels running in my business right now. And that is where the majority of my income comes from. However, when I started, and right up until the 2nd year of my business, I made multi-6 figures by getting on the phone with people. That's what I did. All day, every day. I got on the phone. I made genuine connections. I booked discovery calls, and I sold stuff. And so when we're talking about like long, complicated sales strategies and you've got to have a 7-point system for this and a 10 checklist guide for that particular call, that's all crap. You need to get on the phone with people, build relationships, be human, and sell effectively, right? There is no trick. There's no trick behind it. If you are somebody who's working one-on-one with people, you need to be getting on the phone. Okay? So I can't stress it enough. If you're somebody who is worried about getting on the phone, download my free Supersize Your Sales Guide. That literally gives you ways to get on the phone with people and feel relaxed and make the pitch and make it easy, and it's free, right? But you need to be getting on the phone, because what I'm seeing right now is everybody's doing this, I'm going to give these really long value posts that, hide like the fact that my Facebook group's at the bottom, or that I've snuck in my business page or something like that. People aren't going to buy. They're not going to just go and hop over to your business page, scroll all the way down to find your latest offer. They just want to talk to you. And that's as simple as I can make it, and that's why when I was like looking at the topics this week, and I was thinking, what do I really want to teach? And I thought this might be too simple. And now I'm saying it, I'm like, yeah, it is really simple, but it's the most effective. Okay, so that really is it, ladies. It's all about keeping it simple, booking discovery calls, having conversations, building relationships, and selling. Where do you get the free guide? Do I have it from doing the course? You might have the free guide. I'm not sure. It's not something I've put in a course. It's a free guide. It's called Supersize Your Sales. I can grab the link and I can put it in the comments for anybody that wants it afterwards. So if you want the guide, let me know and I'll pop it in the comments for the live. But are there any questions on this? Does anybody have any questions about getting on the phone and about pitching on the phone? Because, you know, I'm seeing lots of like, oh, sales is really complicated, you know, selling is really sleazy, etc., etc. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be like that. You know, remember when we've talked about it and we've talked about the fact that all you need to do is attract the right people, pre-sell them, and then once they're on the phone, they're there to buy. It's then a conversation about, can I make the price work? Can I make the timing work? Having a quick sense check, right? Suze, no problem. I will get you guys the guide, not a problem at all. Like Rebecca Bolton said earlier today, if I'm getting on the phone with you, I'm ready to buy. Exactly. You know, and that's a case of the sales process being done really, really well. Attract, pre-sell, close. And I know that people have got different kind of, you know, people feel differently about closing clients or landing clients. To be honest, you know, I think of every sales call as somebody making an empowered decision. But I'm still going to say closing clients or landing clients because that's the corporate term for it, and that's just what I've grown up with, so I'm not going to change that. It doesn't mean I value those people any less or that I kind of think about the dollar signs. It's because, you know, I'm about, right, well, this is what happened. The stage of the process, attract, pre-sell, close. Shoshana, I feel really good about sales these days because I realise I'm doing people a disservice by not offering to help them. Exactly. And that's the thing, you know, you are effectively, and we've used this analogy before, right? You're letting them drown. You're just watching them sink into their own kind of like puddle of, oh my goodness, I don't know what I'm doing. And you're just like, okay, cool, go suffer over there, right? Alicia, my thing isn't really the call, but it's how do I get there? This is my burning question. So how do you book discovery calls? Is that what you mean, Alicia? How can you book more discovery calls? Beth, that's not true. You still need your IC on the phone. Mine IC are the ones not booking calls. Beth, which part of that's not true? Sorry, love. I'm confused. But yeah, exactly. So if your ideal clients aren't booking calls, like let's look at how we can book more discovery calls. Suze, I do get on the phone and genuinely talk to people, but then for whatever reason I don't end up closing, and I don't do too well with overcoming objections, but practice makes you better. So I totally agree with that. And I was saying to somebody earlier today, I used to practice sales calls on Sam all the time, and in fact I still do. Every so often I'll be like, run me through some objections, and he'll like shout some at me from the kitchen and I'll answer them. And the thing is, a sales call, you know, a discovery call is a really, really important part of the process. And I find that there are a couple of common mistakes, and the Supersize Your Sales Guide will help you with this, but there are a couple of mistakes that people make most often when it comes to discovery calls. The biggest one is that they coach on the call. Now, I'm not a fan of that. It's not because I don't believe in giving people value. It's not because I don't want them to have a great experience. It's because I believe that you have no right to coach them at that point. And actually you could damage them. Because if you go half into a coaching call and you give them like half a strategy because that's all the time that you have, they feel like their pain is temporarily removed. So they don't want to buy because they're like, oh no, I feel great now. And then they go off and 2 or 3 days later, they're like, oh, I feel crap again. And I just spoke to so-and-so, or I just spoke to Jess, and she didn't make me feel any better, so I'm not going to go back. Okay, so that's big mistake number one, is that people coach on the calls. And it's a silly thing to do. You don't have the right to. You actually end up leaving them in more pain. And that's not cool. So that's the first big mistake. The second big mistake I see is that people don't make the pitch. So on the discovery call, they'll have this great conversation about what that person's looking to do and the problems they've experienced and all that kind of stuff. And then there'll be this like awkward silence at the end where that person is like, so this has been great. And you're like, yeah, it really has. so I'll just like send you an email in a couple of days or something, and inside you're like crying because you're like, but this client is ideal and they're amazing, and you're just like, so yeah, okay, I'll send you an email, bye from me then, bye. And it all goes to pot because you're like, why did I not say that I had something for sale? Why did I not talk about, something that really would have helped them? So that's the second biggest mistake I see, is that people don't pitch. They don't, they don't bring up what they actually have for sale because people don't want to talk about the money. They don't want to have the money conversation. Okay, so that's the second thing. Then you have the objections, right? Now, objections is something that come up and there are two ways of thinking about objections. I don't think of them as objections. I think of them as people wanting reassurance. Because generally, if somebody's coming to you with an objection, there are only a couple that actually exist. Okay, and there was a study about this a few years ago from a sales, like a sales union body. They basically did this study, and they said there are only ever 12 objections. Okay, there are only ever 12 objections that ever come up, and variations of those. So basically you've got the I don't have the money, I want to talk to my partner, I need to think about it, can you send me an email follow-up, I'm talking to other people. There were 12 of those, right? And what they established was that out of those 12, only 2 were actually real objections. Okay, so only 2 of them were going to stop people actually purchasing. And the 2 of them that would stop people purchasing was if they genuinely did not have the money, then that was obviously going to stop them purchasing. And I have to talk to my spouse, right? Now, the talk to my spouse, I make big financial decisions and I make them with Sam. And there are some things I make with Sam, and there are some things I'm like, I'm just going to go and do that because that's what I'm going to go do. And he does the same. So there are some things that obviously, you do have to take the time to think about. And again, with the money one, it's not often the money that is the problem. It's that they haven't got the reassurance they need about the results that they're going to get, or that they can actually do it, so they don't have the self-belief, or that they don't know that you can help them do it. And that basically, the study itself basically said that every objection, bar those 2 in very, very certain circumstances, i.e. when they're actually real objections and they're not them questioning their self-belief or wanting more time to think about it or haven't built up the trust in you yet, are actually not counted on a sales call. They're counted before the sales call, which is why I'm always talking to people and yammering on and on and on about you must attract the right people, you must pre-sell them, and then on the sales call, you're not going to have as many objections, because the sales call then becomes a case of, I want to work with you, how can we make this happen, right? So when you're handling objections, the best way to do it is be empathetic. So empathize. I completely understand, completely get, completely get why you're feeling that way, or I completely understand, I've been in that situation myself, or, I know that this is a big decision, big financial investment, etc., etc., etc. Then you actually qualify the problem. Look, is this the real reason that you're not buying? If money wasn't an issue, would you purchase today? Or is it that you actually have other questions that I need to answer, or is there other reassurances that I can give you that you need in order to make this decision? And then it is give them an opportunity to make the decision themselves. So say, look, now that we've gone through this, now that we've kind of gone back and I've answered some more of your questions, how do you feel now? So the trick is not to try and bulldoze them with, oh, you don't have the money, sell your car and you will. It's empathize with them, help them find a solution. Empathize with them, identify and qualify whether it's a real problem, help them find a solution, let them make the decision. Right? That's how I would deal with objections. Okay, what have I missed? Sorry guys, I was like, there's loads of comments. Alicia, your thing is, how do I get a call? Do I book a call a day? Yeah, so to book discovery calls, you need to be offering discovery calls. And again, you know, one of the big things that I see a lot is that people are like, oh, nobody books in for discovery calls with me. Are you offering them? Like, how often are you offering them? You know, when I was working one-on-one and I was like, okay, I want, you know, new one-on-one clients, I would be offering discovery calls all the time. You know, no, I wouldn't necessarily be going into other people's groups and being like, hey guys, you know, hook up if you want like one of the 5 free sessions I have on my calendar next week, because generally we know that those people have more than 5 free sessions. But I would be offering discovery calls regularly to my community and to my email list and things like that. And I still do. Whenever I have like time in my diary, I'm like, right, okay, I'm going to email my list and I'm going to offer them some calls. I love it, Mema, top discovery call coach. Jen, that's the best explanation for not coaching on a discovery call I've ever heard. Thanks. Suze, I make sure I pitch, but then I don't overcome objections. Hopefully I just answered that for you. Beth, that could be the problem. I always end up coaching about one issue, but that's what my discovery call says I will do, so I'm confused. Beth, I think you have access in the Cash Creation portal to my sales guides, my sales scripts and objection handling guides. So you can actually go into the portal and you can go through those trainings. There are like 3 video trainings and my exact sales scripts and objection handling guides. They're all in the Cash Creation portal for you. You can use those to your heart's content. Like, I explain exactly on there how to walk through a discovery call and how you go through that. I love that. Lorraine, oh, that's a bit expensive. Could I do half the amount of sessions and cut the cost down? That's one that people hear quite often. Shoshana, I've also started to think of it as retail. You get people walking in and out of the store. Some will buy, some won't. If they say, I'll come back tomorrow, you know they won't. So you've got to pull out all the stops to make and buy it today if you feel really good about it and it's with integrity. Yeah, this is the important thing. For me, it's about integrity, right? If you're getting on a discovery call, you should already know that person. You should really like that person and be excited about working with them. That's how my discovery calls have been, you know, because for me, I spend a lot of the time on the attracting the right people and pre-selling them. So when they get on the phone, they're 90% yes anyway, if I'm honest. Like, everybody that gets on the phone with me is like, oh, and there have been times where I've said to people, look, you need to get on the phone with me, just in case you get on the phone, you're like, actually, I don't like her and I think she's a bit crazy and I don't want to work with her. You know, so it is really important to sell with integrity. It is really important to check these people out on the phone, on Skype, make sure that they are the right fit for you and you're the right fit for them. Lorraine, this has stopped me from getting upset about browsers who never book a call or just check out my website. Not every inquiry is meant to be. Exactly. Releasing expectations creates more sales. Yes, exactly. If you go into every single sales call seeing dollar signs, you're going to be very, very disappointed, because that's not how it works. You know, you've got to go into the sales call with the understanding that this is a conversation with somebody, helping them make a decision and helping you make a decision on whether or not that relationship is right to be a working one or not. Tanessa, you're amazing. Thank you. Thanks, my love. If money wasn't an issue, I'd be like, yes, yes, yes to everything. There are so many amazing women in this group. There are. You know, there are so many amazing women in this group. And that's the thing. I think the thing about money is that, and we were talking about this the other day, I think it was you, Lorraine, that said, would I still make the investments that I do if I didn't have the money? And my answer was yes, I'd find a way to make it happen. And that's not me being kind of flippant about it, because I've been there where I didn't have the money to make the investments, and I made some interesting decisions at those times to make it happen, because I was like, well, there's no other option for me and I'm all into this. Other people have different responsibilities, they have different you know, stories and paths and financial situations, and I don't judge anyone for that. The discovery call though, you know, those people should be qualified in advance, knowing that if they come to that call, you are going to pitch them and that there is going to be some kind of either I think we should work together or I don't think we're a great fit, but here's some recommendations. Does that make sense? Like, we should always be pre-qualifying our clients before the discovery call, because otherwise what happens is people get like 15 discovery calls and they're like, oh, but I only closed one person. That's a complete, you know, waste of your time. It doesn't manage their expectations around what's going to happen on the call. It doesn't help them. It doesn't help you, right? That makes absolute sense. I'm just afraid to do it too often. Once I start, I'm afraid of rejection. Do you know what? Rejection happens all day, every day. Every time I walk down the street and I don't get wolf whistled by a builder, I'm rejected. That's how I see life, right? Every single time that happens, feminist or not, you know, that's rejection, okay? Every time I say hello to somebody in the street and they don't say it back, I'm rejected. Every time and I do this from time to time, I send out personal emails to people and personal messages, and you know, people just ignore them because they're like, oh no, Jess is going to try and sell me something. And in reality, I'm not. I'm just checking in to see how they're getting on. And so they ignore them. It's rejection. Rejection's part of being a business owner. It's part of life. You know, Max rejects me all the time. I call him on the field. He completely ignores me and goes to every other, you know, person/dog. And you know, barks at them horrendously and just completely ignores me. I'm rejected by my own pet. You know, it happens. That's the simple fact. And actually, you know, the weird thing is that once you start putting yourself out there, the rejection is actually a lot less than you would think. You know, the problem is that we build it up in our minds. We have all this anticipation around, oh my goodness, I'm going to put out a post, nobody's going to like it, nobody's going to comment on it. You know, then everybody will see it, but and you know, it will be like public rejection, and that's not the case. The reality is, you'll put something out there. Sometimes people will like love it and they'll be all over it, and other times they won't. It happens to me all the time. You know, people are always saying to me, oh, but it's easy for you because everyone comments on your stuff. I'm like, there's plenty of stuff out there that people don't comment on. Plenty of stuff. Like, there are plenty of offers that I've launched, certainly in the first 2 years of my business, that sold nothing. I'm okay with that. Like, they were offers that I'd created that weren't in alignment with what I was doing. They didn't make sense to my audience. I totally confused them. I launched them at the wrong times. People didn't buy. I don't blame them. Like, they weren't rejecting me. I made poor decisions. And as a result of those poor decisions, I learned. You know, when I learnt the lesson, I was like, okay, well, I won't do that again. And now I know how to make more sense and things like that. So, you know, never worry about, I can say it like really easily, never worry about rejection. Of course you're going to worry about it. But it's not going to happen as often as you think. It's never going to be as bad as you think. And in all reality, if you get rejected 3 times in order to get 2 clients, what's the problem? Like, that's the thing. I lost every fear of rejection I had when I wanted to make my business work, because I was like, for every 5 people I talk to, statistically, even if you're like, if you're super average at sales, statistically, for every 5 people you talk to, you will land 1 client. That's a statistic. So even if you don't like have any sales skill at all, statistically, 1 in 5. Right? Don't worry. Don't worry so much about other people's judgment. What they think does not matter. Like, your business has to survive, and in order for it to do that, you need to be getting on the phone. Yeah? Suze, how do you pre-sell? Pre-selling is an interesting one. So you attract people with the message that you put out there, and you attract people with the way that you act, your story, you know, the things that they resonate with, all that kind of good stuff. The pre-sell is when you give people opportunities to be nurtured by you. It's when you give people value, right? I give value every day in this group, every single day. That's pre-selling. Most people, when they get on the phone with me, are like, I want to work with you, I just don't know how to make it happen. It's because they've been well nurtured, they've had a ton of value from me, they know, like, and trust me, and that's your pre-sell. So you can do it in lots of different ways. I personally do it by showing up in my community regularly. I give a ton of value, you know, that's who I am anyway as a person. Other people who are like, oh, I don't necessarily want to do it that way, have things, you know, that nurture their audience in different ways. They might have automated email sequences. It might be that they release a series of opt-ins. They might do a video series or something that's going to be educational. It might be that, you know, actually they nurture people through a podcast or through blogging, or like there are lots and lots of different ways. But basically your pre-sale is your nurture. It's showing people value. It's showing people what they're actually going to get from you. And it's helping them make that decision around, is that somebody that I want to associate with? Is it somebody that I want to get to know better? And is it someone that I want to work with? Does that help? Again, that's in the free guide as well. The attract, pre-sell and close stages are all in there. Mema, I really want to fill one particular package. Should I tailor my discovery call invites to talk about it? Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Like, I totally would. I'd be like, look, I would love to. And again, if you go into Cash Creation, there are templates that I've used for that exact thing. Get a wolf whistle notification. That would be amazing. I feel so good. Hey, Vidya. Cassie. Oh, hey, Cassie. How are you, my lovely? Technically, we say no to things on a regular basis all the time, so you're either rejecting or being rejected at some point or another in your life. Releasing the expectations of both sides is your freedom. I love that. Exactly. It's exactly that. You know, let it go. You know, what's the worst thing that can happen? If somebody says no to you on a sales call, the sky is not going to fall in. You're just going to be like, oh, okay, cool. And maybe for like 10 seconds it's going to burn because it's your business and it's your baby, and you're going to be like, oh, well, that person is just mean. That's cool. And then you get back up and you book another sales call and that person says yes. And you're like, oh my God, they're the best client ever. And the fact that that person said no to me means that this person is the most epic person ever. And they're going to love me and we're going to have this great experience. Right? Being an entrepreneur, roller coaster. You're going to have that all the time. So let it go. You know, don't go into a discovery call being like, oh my goodness, you know, I'm going to land this and this person's going to pay me $3,000. Go into it being like, look, I'm going to help this person make an informed decision about what they really need to do next. And I'm going to make an informed decision about whether I want to be the person that helps them take that step. That's it. I have to book 5 discovery calls a week. Let's go, universe. Yay! I love it. Mem, I can barely remember my own name on the phone sometimes. Yeah, I have that problem. You're so welcome, Suze. But like I say, guys, you know, it's a really simple one, but genuinely it will be a game changer for your business. You know, and I know that we hear it all the time, and I know that getting on the phone is scary, and I know that people are like, oh, well, you know, I don't want to book discovery calls because it's bait and switch and blah, 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 blah. But honestly, it doesn't have to be like that. It really doesn't. You know, and I hate it when I see that people are like, oh, well, you know, I really struggle with discovery calls, because there are so many resources out there for them. You know, I've got the free Supersize Your Sales guide. You can go and look at that. I have my exact sales scripts and objection handling guides. People can grab copies of those. You know, you can go on YouTube and you can watch like a ton of videos about how to, you know, run an effective sales call. You can do what I do. I practice with Sam. I practice in the mirror. Back when I started my corporate job and I was cold calling all the time, which involves a lot of rejection and objection handling, I would practice non-stop. You know, I would literally record all the objections that I could think of on my phone, and I would play them back to myself, and I would answer off every single one every day. So, you know, sales isn't, it's not like something you're born with. It's not, you know, it's not like I woke up and, you know, or I was born and I was like 4 years old and suddenly I was great at selling, you know, technology. It's that, you know, I practiced day after day after day, week after week after week, and I honed my skills so that eventually I could start putting these things on automation. So eventually I didn't have to talk to people, you know, that I didn't have to get them on the phone, that actually I could make my funnel nurture people and make them feel really good without me having to do the work all the time. Does that make sense? Lorraine, when you say get on the phone, do you actually do most of your calls via Skype or other video calling? I do most of mine on Zoom, if I'm honest. Skype for me is always really clunky, and I think Skype maybe hates me. Because it always seems to cut out and the sound's always a bit dodgy. So I use Zoom, and I highly recommend it, especially if you're somebody who tends to get into like really long discovery calls, and your discovery calls are supposed to be 30 minutes and then suddenly they're like an hour and a half and there's no real progress on whether that person's coming to a decision or whether they're not. So you need to kind of get on Zoom. The maximum that you can do on that on a free account is 40 minutes. So you know that you, at that point, it's time to make a decision. or not. Skype breaks my shit. Yeah, Skype is just not, it's not that user friendly. It really isn't. Like, I don't know. It used to be great. I used to love Skype, but right now I'm like, Skype, we kind of need to work things out, guys. But yeah, so if you're not booking discovery calls, please go do so. And if you're finding it difficult to book discovery calls, think about, A, am I offering them? Am I offering them regularly enough that people want to that want to kind of go in for them? B, am I actually putting it in front of an audience? You know, I'm putting it in front of an audience. Do I have enough traffic that when I'm offering discovery calls, there are going to be people that want to take it up? And C, is my message right? You know, am I telling people what kind of value they're going to get from a discovery call with me? Am I making it clear why they need to book one? If you're just doing one-to-one calls, then Zoom is free. I think it's only free for 40 minutes. I seem to recall that being the case with it, but it might have changed. But yeah, I think if you're on Zoom, one-on-one or with like a group of people, it's a 40-minute limit. So I don't know, it might have changed. Skype needs to have a word with itself. Yeah, it does. But yeah, so if you have any questions or anything, you've got it free. Maybe it's changed. I don't know. I have the I think it's $14 a month, $15 a month plan just for that. Facebook Messenger, yeah, you could use that as a tool. Absolutely. Unlimited for one-to-one, but if it's 3 people, then it's 40 minutes. In that case, guys, you should all be going and getting Zoom for free. You know, there's nothing to stop you doing discovery calls really well. Just go and get Zoom, you know, and do them and practice them regularly. Offer them regularly, practice them regularly, sell regularly. That's it. Mema, yeah, 40 minutes is free. I used the wrong account this morning and it kept cutting out every 40 minutes on a 2-hour call. Ooh. Yeah, that's not what you want. I think it's going to depend on probably when you signed up for your Zoom account. If you signed up when, you know, before Zoom kind of brought in the new plans and policies, then maybe you still get unlimited one-to-one. But if you signed up after, then it might be that it's 40 minutes. I don't know. But I do love Zoom, so yeah. Are there any other questions on discovery calls or booking discovery calls? I'm going to put the free Supersize Your Sales Guide link in because I think it's really useful. So if you haven't grabbed a copy of that, make sure you get a copy because it's really good. But other than that, please make sure that you are booking calls, because honestly, booking calls will change your business. And I know that, you know, there are a lot of people in here who want to do funnels, who want to automate all that good stuff. And I'm all over that. I'm a big fan of it. But it's like when we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Do what you need to do for where you are right now. If you are somebody who does not book or who does not make money consistently, so you're not making between 5 and 10k a month consistently right now, you do not need automation and funnels. You need to be booking calls. That's my genuine, as a sales coach, honest opinion. You do not need to be automating your business until you are consistently making between 5 and 10k a month. What you need to do is have simple funnels in place to nurture people, and you need to be absolutely rocking your discovery calls. Once you're doing that and you're making between 5 and 10k a month consistently, that's when you can start to automate, because that's when you actually like know what works. Jen, I used to have a huge resistance, but once I nailed the pre-sale, I welcome them. Exactly. You know, and that's the thing. It becomes a lot easier when you're doing all of the parts, right? If you're attracting the right people, if you're pre-selling them, and then, you know, you're getting on the phone call, it's much easier. It's much simpler, and you're much more likely to get a yes. You totally helped me with the pre-sale and qualifying those calls. You're so welcome, my love. You know, you did all the hard work. And that's the thing. Like, Jen is somebody who worked with me one-on-one and did all the hard work. And now she's, you know, didn't you just do like 8.5k or an 8k month or something, Jen, last month? Yay, Katya's here. Hello, my love. But yeah, it's true, right? Do you think it's worth targeting the bigger groups like Entrepreneur Incubator for discovery calls, or perhaps on our own smaller groups? This is an interesting one. And there are two sides of this. When I started, way back when, I offered discovery calls in the Entrepreneur Incubator. And I did actually get discovery calls from the Entrepreneur Incubator. However, I was somebody in there at that point. If anybody's read my article on how Facebook groups changed my life in HuffPost, then you'll see that back when I started my business and I wanted to be prevalent online, I did actually interact in those groups. So I built relationships, and therefore I would get discovery calls. However, what you have to remember, and I've said this, I think, to my cash creation guys recently, or the Dotties, I think it might have been. Exactly, 8K in 2.5 weeks, which is awesome, by the way. But what I said to the Dotties, or the cash creation guys, or both recently, was you are going to have some groups which support you as an entrepreneur and as a business owner, or, you know, as somebody that's interested in horse riding or board games or food or whatever, and that support you in that. And then you're going to have some groups where your ideal clients are. And sometimes those groups are going to be similar, and sometimes those groups are going to be different. Okay? Now, remember that your own community is always going to be your warmer audience. So if you're somebody who doesn't want to build a community, you don't want to build a Facebook group, you don't want to build a LinkedIn community, you don't want to build an email list, and you just want to hang out in other people's Facebook groups and market that way, your business, and I'm going to, sorry in advance, it's not going to be popular, but your business is not going to be sustainable. Because people go into those groups wanting specific help or advice, and the majority of those people are going to want specific help or advice with the thing that group owner or that admin or whoever is offering. That's why they're there. They've joined the group for that purpose, to find out more about that topic. Now, there are groups out there that do it very differently. FFE, I'd like to think, is one of those groups, because I actively encourage community in here, and I actively encourage people to promote in here, and I actively encourage people to network in here and build relationships. And it's one of the reasons that I focus so much on that, because actually otherwise a lot of people who get clients in FFE, if they didn't build relationships, if they didn't network, if they didn't, promote whenever, they wouldn't. Because drive-by promoing doesn't work. It's that kind of simple. So in the groups that you are an active participant and you're somebody who shows up, gives value, so Lorraine, for example, in FFE, if there were, and we've seen this recently, there are people in here who are like, I want to learn more about eating healthy. They will come to you straight away because you show up, you give consistent value, you're somebody who's always there, you're supporting other people, etc, etc, etc. Easy. If you're somebody who doesn't know the group at all, and you rock up and you go, I've got 5 free spaces in my calendar, which I'm sure nobody in here would ever do, but just as a PSA, if you do that, the group owner is going to be a bit pissed off, because they're going to be a bit like, well, drive-by spamming is not ideal. And also people in the group are going to be like, who is this person? No, I'm not going to buy from them. That's creepy and weird. And that's experience as somebody who's been on both sides of the coin. I get drive-by promos in FFE a lot. We delete them all. We delete people that don't adhere to the rules. We don't, if people come in here and they don't add value and they promo, usually I'll message them if I've got time. Otherwise, I just delete it. If they haven't given value, if they haven't shown up, if they haven't engaged with people, if they haven't supported other people, had conversations, then no, they don't get to promote, because this is a community that's built on relationships, it's built on networking, and it's built on genuine value, and that's what works for people. That's why I try and make people do it, right? It's not just because I'm like, oh, I just want you to have all these conversations. It's because that's what works. That's what's going to get you clients, showing up, being genuine, building relationships, adding value, and asking for the sale. That's how it works. Exactly, Jen. Yuck, it's gross. Like getting naked in a bar. People don't like it. I want to know whether you've got personal experience with that memo. Katya, I just delete and block. Yeah, exactly. There are lots of different ways that people do it, but the thing is, you want to be thinking about, are the groups that I'm in, are they groups that I'm being supported and learning in, or are they groups that I'm looking for ideal clients in? And if you can, I would try and have like separate spaces, because otherwise it becomes very difficult. You know, when we did the Standing in Your Truth challenge, for example, a lot of people hadn't had a space where they could really just be open and authentic and real, because actually so much of the time we're looking for clients. So we've always got to have the like client mask on in case, you know, somebody doesn't think we're doing that well, or, you know, somebody's going to criticize the way we run a business or whatever. In reality, the way we want to be looking at it is, okay, make 2 separate spaces, and then it's going to be a lot easier for you. And then of course you're going to have places that, you know, your ideal clients might be, but you're using that group primarily as networking or support or engagement or whatever, or just fun. And so when, you know, when you're in there and you're delivering value, it's because you genuinely care, you know, and you're genuinely trying to support other people in the group, which is a lot of what we see in here. And that's actually where you do get the clients, you know. So I guess that's a long-winded answer, but it's all going to depend. If you've got a relationship with people in bigger groups, yeah, go for it. If you've been adding value, if you've been regularly engaging and doing all that good stuff, absolutely go for it, see what happens. If you haven't, don't, because it's very unlikely. I mean, you could write great copy and, you know, you would get the potential of having people sign up, but they're not qualified prospects. They don't know you. They don't know what you're about. They don't know your message. And so actually when they get on the phone with you, that's not a warm lead. That's a totally cold prospect that you've probably never met before. And so actually that then makes it a cold sales call, which can be even more difficult to manage, you know. So it just depends on how you feel about it. Remember, I've been in a bar where somebody has tried to get naked. It was awkward for all of us concerned. Yeah, I bet it was. Groups are like pubs. They have different vibes and everyone has their own local. Exactly. And that's the thing. Ultimately, group owners work really hard to cultivate specific communities. You know, I'm somebody I'm like, look, promote in here. Absolutely. I appreciate that everybody shows up. I appreciate that people engage. I appreciate that people support. And so as an adult, I think it's a good idea that people are allowed to promote their services, because I appreciate that everybody shows up, right? But what I don't appreciate is when people show up and they try and do like a sneaky little promo and a long blog post when they haven't added any value. I don't appreciate it when people don't listen to the rules about not sharing stuff from their business page or not sharing videos, because we can't watch all of them, no matter how lovely they are. And, you know, just pop me a message and let me know and I'm fine with it. But those people, they don't get any engagement. They don't then get sales, and then after about 6 weeks of trying it, after they've posted 3 to 5 times a day or whatever, and they've tried the traditional strategy, they leave. So you don't see them again, because they didn't cultivate any relationships. They just came in, tried to use it for a purpose, didn't work out, and they're gone. You know, that's the way I see it. Does that make sense? Does that help? Are there any other questions? Has anybody got any other questions? Like, discovery calls are a popular topic. But it is true, you know, if you go out and you book 5 discovery calls this week, you will get 1 new client. That's a fact. Unless, of course, you don't pitch any of those clients and you don't offer any of them the sale, and you're kind of like, you don't show up to the calls or something. In which case, that's different. But if you have 5 calls, you get 5 people on the phone, you offer the sale 5 times, you do all that kind of work, then you are pretty much guaranteed to get a client. So, you know, that's a really good thing for everybody. Shoshana, yes. Good. Okay, good. All right, then, my lovelies. If you have no other questions, I'm going to love you and leave you for the evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are in the world. But like I say, sales doesn't have to be difficult. Honestly, the only thing that if you're not making between 5 and 10k a month consistently right now, the only thing you need to be doing is focusing on getting people on the phone. Okay, that's it. Getting people on the phone. Doesn't matter how small your Facebook group is, doesn't matter how small your email list is, doesn't matter. You just need to work out, okay, how can I get the message across that I actually want to talk to these people? How can I show them that I'd love them to book in for a call? And then when you're on the call, you just have to rock it. That's it. Really, really is that simple. If anybody's got any questions or anything like that, just tag me in the post. You know, I'm always happy, Always happy to answer questions. I'll pop the free Super Social Sales Guide in here, and that does go through the attract, pre-sale and close phases of selling. So that should give you a really good overview of what you want to be doing to kind of get people into the stage where they want to be on your sales calls, they want to be interacting with you. And if anybody obviously does want to grab a copy of my sales scripts and objection handling guides, they are in there as well. So knock yourselves out with all of that. There are video trainings and stuff that you can go and watch, and you can kind of see me doing sales calls and get an idea of how you can be working on that. All right, but hopefully that's helpful. Tomorrow I will be back with more good stuff, and then on Thursday me and Sam are going to be live in the group together for the first ever time. I think it'll be the first ever time that Sam has actually used Facebook Live. We'll be using my phone because he won't have a clue how to use it, and he's not allowed in the group. So yeah, we will be here on Wednesday. I'll be here tomorrow at 5 o'clock UK, 12 noon EST, 11 AM CST, and the same time hopefully on Thursday with Sam as well. All right then, my lovelies, have a really, really good day, evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you tomorrow.